everybody. It's Wednesday and it's getting kind of late in the day, so I figured I'd hurry up and talk a little bit more about some essential oils. We've been talking about essential oils lately and really getting into the nitty-gritty. Hey Felicia. So I'm Jessica Travis, and I really love to take meaty and maybe sometimes more complicated stuff that has a lot of data, research, science, and break it down and make it easily understood. And I usually do this over on my business page, but I've been doing this on my personal timeline for the last few days because there's just been a lot of people interested and ready and eager to hear about these specific oils on these specific days. So I figured we'll just go ahead and continue that for today. And then I'll tell you something at the end of this video that might help you to know where to go in the future. But for today, let's talk about a few of these precious essential oils that are the topic of the day. And let's start with our bright shining star, Melissa officinalis. So if you look at the Melissa, it's also known as lemon balm. But if you look at the side of it, it says Melissa officinalis. Did you know that the Latin officinalis, that actually means, it is Latin for organisms, specifically plants in this case, but organisms in general with use in medicine. So hey, I didn't give this the name Melissa officinalis. It's named that because science has recognized that this essential oil has uses in medicine. So that's not me. Don't kill the messenger. This is an essential oil recognized with uses in medicine. That's what officinalis means, all right? And I think most of us are kind of familiar with that. If you have any experience with Melissa essential oil, in fact, if you do, give me some hearts or some thumbs up if you love Melissa essential oil. If you don't know much about it, you're about to learn a little bit about it right now. So I'll tell you a story. My first experience was not that long ago. I actually have not used Melissa for a long time. I've been using essential oils for about 6 years, but I didn't initially take that dive and start using this particular essential oil because I felt it was cost prohibitive. It is one of the pricier essential oils, and I did not feel inclined to spend the money on it. I missed out for so long because of that, you guys, and it just is so funny because when I look back and I think about what I've spent on other things and how much I just threw down. I'm talking about going out to eat, to having a nice dinner, and with just my husband and I, and throwing down that much. Easy. And missing out on having that bottle and everything it's done for me, I just kind of cringe at what value I was placing on what. But that's okay, that's in the past. I now understand the value of this amazing essential oil, and I want to share it with the world in a very compliant way. So, one of the things that I really thought would be good to bring out, I know some of you have seen Danielle Daniels. She's a psychologist. She did a video all about the emotional and some of the psychocognitive benefits of this essential oil. So I'm not going to focus a whole lot on that. I'm sure most of you have seen it. But that's a really big deal because, let me see, order of this. Okay, I'm like, is it sold out? I'm trying to make sure it's not sold out. It is really important to understand that something like as simple as an essential oil could help someone who is having cognitive imbalance, difficulties, setbacks, decline in their cognitive abilities. That is usually something that people feel is just, that's it, there's nothing that can be done. Well, we know now, epigenetics, right, that neuroplasticity continues until the day you die. You have the capacity to generate new neurons and to grow that until the last day of your life. While you're still breathing, that's still happening. So if there is a natural medicine that can actually support that, then go for it. And that's what Melissa can do. With the fact that you can have less agitation and then sharper cognitive acuity or ability, really, really important. But I just said I wasn't going to go over what's already been gone over, but I wanted to say that because I think it's really important. One of the things that is not so, not sold out yet. Thank you, Terry. One of the things that is not so well known about Melissa is its really, really powerful benefit to the liver, and then all of that kind of cascades down from that. So we have talked a little bit earlier in the week and last week about the liver and what happens there and what is downhill from there. And so when we talk about the liver, immediately we start to think about blood sugar, insulin, and cholesterol. So when you think about what happens in the liver and what supports a healthy liver, then you can think about balancing those things, making sure that your blood sugar, your insulin, and cholesterol, specifically triglycerides, are balanced. There's powerful, powerful evidence to back the fact that Melissa does support that. Really powerful. And I remember in one of my long years past how difficult it was when you would try to help somebody who had an issue specifically with triglycerides, which are all like a direct reflection of blood sugar. How difficult it usually was to try and help somebody manage that with all kinds of different things that we would try. But when you see something natural that can help, why is it going to help? Because you're not trying to help out here in the periphery to manipulate, okay, let's manipulate this number, try to do something about this number. No, if we support the liver, then naturally you're going to have a support and you're going to have balance and you're going to have healthy levels of sugar, insulin, and you need sugar, you need insulin, and you need cholesterol. They just need to be in a balanced, in balanced amounts in your body. And your body knows what to do. We just need to get out of the way and support it. I like to also think about these essential oils in plant medicine, officianalis. They were designed to help the plants that they come from. So when we think in terms of what they were designed to do for the plants, we can start to see what they were designed to do for us. Filtration, keeping things clean, keeping things moving. Plants don't have cholesterol. So they have sugar though. Everything nice and balanced and supported and healthy in the plant. The other neat thing, I was just making a joke. I saw a presidential press conference with the press secretary, and she had a binder. And I was like, I feel like I'm the press secretary. She had a binder with all these little tabs, and I'm like, that's what I feel like with my binder every day. Maybe I'm the only one that sees the humor in that. I don't know. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you? See, that's why I have to be organized. I think I already did say that about that activity of Melissa Lemon Balm. We know, we talked about as far as cognitive, as far as liver. There are some really, really interesting and powerful things that you can also research for yourself that the specific plant can do. I highly recommend that you do some research on that, because when you have oxidation, that leads to a lot of things going bad. That leads to those free radicals all around. That we know what happens when you have oxidation and free radicals. Nothing good comes of that. Things that aren't supposed to be in your body start cropping up in your body, and they start doing things and wreaking havoc on your body in many ways. We all know that that's what happens. So when you have something that is really powerful in scavenging those free radicals, munching them up and eating them up, then you can kind of follow that trail and figure out why that would be really, really important and what it could end up doing for someone who maybe had gone down that trail of lots of oxidation, lots of free radical damage. So just think about that. Okay, let's move on to Roman chamomile. So, I mean, Melissa, I just can't say enough about it. If you've ever experienced it for yourself, as far as having really heavy thoughts, having really dark thoughts, that was one thing that for me was very powerful, being able to put a drop on my tongue and kind of feel lifted out of that really dark place. If you're grieving or if you're feeling thoughts of despair, I know there's been a lot of people that have had suicidal thoughts. That's usually, it's so interesting, I was listening to my friend lately, that's not mental illness. That's a situation of feeling despair. That's a completely different thing than mental illness. Most people that commit suicide do not fit the category for being mentally ill. They have a moment and they're in despair and they don't see a way out, and their thoughts have consumed them and they identify with their thoughts. So if you can break out of that thought, then you can that can actually save your life. Again, mental illness and suicide are completely, and suicidal ideation, or people that end up doing that, that's usually, there's a huge disconnect between the two. So people that are having those deep, dark thoughts really could benefit from, like I did, from a drop of Melissa on their tongue. All right, so moving on to Roman chamomile, like I just said I was going to do, but I didn't. So the chamomile, there's 3 types. There's Roman, German, and then blue, right? The Roman has the least amount of the, is it chamazoline? That's the thing that makes it blue. So German has like 50%, so German chamomile is much more blue. That's what's in our deep blue rub. And blue is obviously very blue. Roman chamomile is really, the thing that I picked out, because I think a lot of people know about its benefits for supporting skin, about its benefits for relaxation. I think a lot of people know about kind of the usual suspects when it comes to Roman chamomile, and if you don't, then now you do. A lot of people know about the digestive benefits and like for spasms. So that would be really good for like indigestion or colic. If you have occasional stomach upset or issues with those things, you could see why that would be really beneficial. One of the things that I always love to hit on is it's called a nervine tonic. So when you think of a tonic, you know, what do you think of when you think of a tonic? Something to calm down, to tone. It's specifically a nervine tonic to calm down nerves. And this is another thing. I always like to look for the things that when I used to be practicing would find the most difficult, that people would have these problems that were, you know, they would come and go, but that when they had it, it just completely interrupted their quality of life, and it just seemed like there wasn't much they could do. So whenever I see something that is able to help support the nervous system in that way and act as a nervine tonic, I'm all over it. Have you ever been holding your cell phone? Maybe it's just me, the way I hold it, but I have a really long finger, so then I'm holding my phone and then my pinky wraps around like this. And so this finger starts to be in an unnatural position for too long. And so it could also happen with maybe, you know, people that are at their keyboard for long periods of time, maybe kids that are using their what do you call it now, joysticks or control, I don't know what you call it. Your, what do you call that? What do you call this?
Just take it.
Oh, she wants me to show you. I don't know what it's called, but oh, the repetitive use, right? So I was experiencing some irritation along this nerve root here, and I took my Roman chamomile with some coconut oil. I like to use a carrier oil with this one. That's a good idea to use a carrier oil with this one. With anything that comes in a 5 ml bottle, I am not going to try and waste too much of it. There's 80 drops in it, so I'm stingier with it. So I'm going to take 1 drop and I'm going to use my carrier oil. I'm not using more than 1 drop at a time. Even if it could be less than a drop, that's fine too, because they go so far. They're so powerful. So I took and just went all the way up, because I know this is not the only place that the nerve is, right? It's all the way up here. You can kind of follow it and feel it with your finger. Just went up all the way up. Immediate relief. Immediate relief. So to me, that's all. I'm just one of those experiential evidence person. You know, if I experience the relief, I'm like, oh, okay, sold, that works. Yes, it's great to have scientific evidence and research to back it up, but you have to try it and see that it works for yourself. So I tried that. All kinds, I said digestive, I said skin, but yeah, the whole nervine tonic and other analgesic properties too are not the first thing that I normally think about for Roman chamomile. It might have been for you guys. We know it's calming. We know it's something that if you're having tension or you're just feeling anxious sensations and you're just really wound up, that's another great thing to diffuse. If you're having spasms and you know those occasional, that time of the month, it's great for that too. But specifically the nervous system I was really impressed with. Okay, let's go to Yellow Mandarin. Oh, Yellow Mandarin. I just love this. And then I'll just give you guys my liquid light recipe, which I actually tweaked it a little bit. Okay, but look how yellow that is. Yellow mandarin is very yellow. So there's the mandarin. If you think of the tree, first the fruits are green. That's where we get the green mandarin. Then they turn yellow, and then they turn red. And that's where you get the red mandarin. So that's kind of where you get the three kinds that we maybe are familiar with. But they all have different chemistries. They're not super different, but they do have differences in the chemistries at the different stages of the colors. When you open this yellow mandarin, it's just so fragrant. It's so tangy and zesty and fresh. It's like no other thing that I've smelled, and it's just special. You're really gonna want to be, like, don't waste it. I'm going to give you a recipe where you can use 10 drops of it in a 10 ml roller, and I really do feel like using 10 drops of it makes this recipe, but then you still have 70 drops left. And I mean, you can do with it whatever you want, but I don't just use it like I would lemon or I would lime. I'm a little bit more stingy with it because it's got such a unique scent, and the scent is so uplifting. It is so bring you out of that dark tunnel. And so that's why I'm going to give you guys this recipe in just a minute, but it's just a fragrant bouquet. When you smell that, it's just incredible. It's got really good toning effects, and so I like to pick out at least one thing to tell you guys, that it's really good for preventing stretch marks. So a good thing to do if maybe you're expecting would be to use a drop or two of yellow mandarin in a lotion that you rub all over your belly and wherever else you expect to stretch out, as a way to prevent stretch marks. I know a lot of us are probably wishing we had this back when, right? But for someone who may be planning or in those stages, it's not too late for you. You can use this. It also has, we talked about a few oils with diuretic effects that stimulate your lymph system. You know, you can look on my business page where I talked all about the lymph system, how important that is for your immune system. So yellow mandarin helps to stimulate your lymph system to move. And in turn, we know that that stimulates your immune system to support that. And we all know that's really important right now. Okay, so I hope you learned something. Let me give you my recipe really quick. This is called Liquid Light. I talked about this before. When my mom passed away, November 1st, 2019, that was a really rough time. And I don't know how far back we had received yellow mandarin from there, but I opened that yellow mandarin up and it just made me feel so much better. So I decided to play around and make a recipe, and I called it Liquid Light because it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's 15 drops of Adaptiv, 15 drops of Copaiba, 5 drops of pink pepper, 10 drops of yellow mandarin, and what else is in it? And 5 drops of frankincense. What I did though was I tweaked it, and because I had the Melissa, and I know how that lifts you up out of dark thoughts as well and out of despair, I added 2 drops of Melissa. You guys, it smells so good, and it really does work to bring you up out of that dark, like you're in that tunnel. You can, all of a sudden you can see the light, and that's why I called it liquid light. So I hope you enjoy that recipe. Take 10 drops, set it aside to make this, and then be really stingy with the rest of your bottle. If you get more than one bottle, that's a really good idea. Yeah, I can post that. But if you only have one bottle, then be stingy with your Yellow Mandarin. Don't just pour it into a drink and drink, or make diffuser blends where you're putting 5 drops every time. Use it, but use it in a way that you don't run out of it in a week. Does that make sense? Okay, because it's wonderful. And definitely make at least one bottle of the liquid light so you'll have that when you need it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. So what I was going to tell you at the end of this is that a lot of people have been asking if, you know, this is something I could do for every one of the oils. Maybe I could really spend a little bit more time and dig in deep and talk even more about where I'm finding this information, and maybe talk about all the different individual oils, and then maybe talk about all the different blends and other oil-infused products. Also, maybe give a little bit more information on how I personally implement them and ways that I use them in my routine. And I think that that's a good idea. And so if that's something you're interested in, please put access in the comments. Also, you guys, share this video, because I know a lot of people are going to want to know some of the benefits of these oils for today. Before the day is out, they're going to want to know what is so special about these oils. So share away. All of this is shareable. And then also put access down in the comments so that I can kind of keep track of who would like the kind of thing I just talked about. And that's something that will be in the works and will be coming, but I need to know who wants to know more about that kind of thing and be included in something like that. All right, guys, I really enjoyed talking to you as always, and see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.